Hello guys and welcome to my gear guide video in which we will talk about some of the best weapons and auxiliary for your ships. There are a few important things to know. Some ships have skills which require a specific gear. When you upgrade your equipment over 10, the weapon efficiency will increase between 4 and 18% depending on the rarity. And if you have better alternatives to the ones shown, write down in the comments. The prototype 234mm has the best raw DPS for heavy cruisers, but it's quite hard to obtain and I don't think it's actually worth the effort to get. But if you have got it, it's the best choice, and if you don't, you can get it from Series 3 research. The prototype twin 234mm is not as good as the triple, but it's easier to obtain than it. It has a faster reload and has lower spread, so more shots can hit. It's obtainable from Series research. Triple 203mm Mark 15 is close with the damage and speed of the first two, but it just ain't there. With its lower penetrating power, it's still a good gun, but I recommend the next one more. This gun can be crafted in the Gear Lab. Prototype triple 203mm SLC34 version is my most used heavy cruiser gun. I have a few of these on my cruisers and they deal with many of the challenges really well, as it's also the second highest DPS and is overall a solid choice. It can be obtained from Series 1, Research and Gear Lab. The twin 203mm SKC34 is an easily obtainable gold gun for your heavy cruiser. I used it before I got the better versions and I still have them on my less used cruisers. It can be gotten from 7.3, 8.4, 4 or 5 Ironblood tech boxes and also Research. The twin 120mm Mark 11 is quite fast and has good damage. It has the highest damage against light armored enemies, so it's best used on stages which have a lot of them, or also for farming. It can be made in the Gear Lab. Twin 128mm SKC41 has mid penetration on light, medium and heavy, so it's good against mixed enemies but not good for a specific type. It's not as good as the first weapon, but still is a good choice. It can be crafted in the Gear Lab as well. The single 138 MLE 1929 is a good gun overall. It shoots fast and has great damage, but it's an event only item and I would recommend to use it on DDs instead. Unless you have a lot more, then you can use it on this as well. The twin 127mm Mark 12 is one of the most popular guns to use on ships. It's a really good option with its nice damage and short rate of fire. It's a good choice which I use on some of my ships as main or secondary. It's also really easy to obtain, as you can get it on 5.1, 8.1, 10.3, 11.1 and tier 4 or 5 Eagle tech boxes. Twin 100mm Type 98 is the fastest shooting gold DD gun and it's a good choice with almost the same damage as the previous gun. It's good for ships which need to shoot fast. It's obtainable from 9.4, 12.4, 14.3 and tier 4 or 5 Sakura tech boxes. The 533mm Quintuple is the hardest hitting homing torpedo. It takes a long time to fire and it can be gotten from the shimmering blue event and craftable in a Gear Lab. It's overall a really hard hitting but also a really expensive torpedo. The 610mm Quintuple is the hardest hitting non-homing torpedo. It's an event only equipment like the other one and they both would be better used on ships with high torp stats or DDs. This one is an event only and is not craftable. The 533mm Quadruple is still a hard hitting magnetic torp. It's faster than the rainbow version, but it has a bit less torps, so it's still a really good choice till you can get the better one or just use this one since it's still a good choice. It can be gotten from tier 4 and tier 5 Ironblood tech boxes, events or crafted in the Gear Lab. The 533 Quintuple Mark 17 is a good non-homing torpedo with a not bad reload time. It doesn't exceed in anything, but overall it's a good option to use. It can be obtained from the Gear Lab or the Mystery Investigation event. The normal 533mm Quintuple is basically like the Mark 17. They have almost the same damage and reload, and the only difference is that this one can be formed from 7.4 or gotten from tier 5 or 4 tech boxes that aren't Ironblood. It can also be gotten through research, so it's overall a really good choice when you have it, just because it's easy to get. The sextuple 40mm Bofors is the hardest hitting anti-air gun in the game. It has amazing damage and a not bad rate of fire, so it's a great choice. I would recommend to use it on Sandy retrofit first. Unless you have a lot of them, then it can be used on any of the other ones. It can be obtained through Series 3 research. The twin 113mm AA gun is the third highest damaging gun, which is overall a great choice for your ships. I use it a lot since it's also easy to obtain. You can get it from S72, 11.4, 4 Tier 4 or 5 Royal Tech boxes and research. It is also one of the most popular AA guns and it's overall a solid choice. Quadruple 40mm Bofors has a bit less damage than the 113, but it shoots faster by it, so they're pretty much almost equal. But it does have a smaller range than it. You can get it from 5.4, 11.3, 14.1 and Tier 4 or 5 Eco Tech boxes, and also research. The triple 25mm AA gun is the fastest shooting gold AA in the game. It doesn't have much damage, but it makes up with its fire rate. There isn't really a reason to use this over the better ones that I have mentioned before, but it's a good choice if you really want your AAs to shoot fast. It can be gotten from the Gear Lab. The twin 40mm Bofors is the second fastest gold AA gun in the game. It's just like the 25, it's fast with low damage, and both are pretty much only useful for min-max AA stat. This one can be obtained from Series 2 research. The high performance hydraulic gear increases evasion and HP of the ships and has a 30% chance to evade attacks for 2 seconds every 20 seconds. It can be gotten in research from any series and it's overall a great choice for your heavy cruisers. The repair toolkit could be better off on light cruisers, but not a lot of good options are for this. So it is a good choice if you want to increase the survivability on late stages of your heavy cruiser. It can be obtained from 3.4, 10.3, 14.1 and any Tier 3 or 4 tech box. The Beaver Squad increases HP and evasion just like the hydraulic gear, but adds more HP and less evasion. It also has a skill that increases 20% movement speed of all ships. It's gotten from finishing a collection, so it could be hard to do at the start, but it's overall a really nice choice as well, but you can only have one. The Gridman Caliber increases evasion and it's not as good as the hydraulic gear or the Beaver Squad. It's best used on Rika Takarada for the additional skills. There's also the Cosmic Kicks, which increase evasion like all of the other before it, but not as much. It also has an increase in speed and makes the ship equipped be one of these class of ships. I don't know what this is called, but it's up on screen. A great alternative to the event auxiliaries would be the anti-torpedo bulge. Since the heavy cruisers are slow, that means they can get hit by torps easier. It can help with their survivability in any of the stages, and it can be gotten from 4.1, 7.4, 10.2, 14.2 and any Tier 3 or 4 tech box.